Hello everybody, it's Friday night and we have a chock-a-block show for you, looking at RPGs, board games, miniature games, card games that may or may not be miniature games. Who knows? We have it if you want it. All the best from the last 7 days. On top of all of that, we also have a prize from our Kickstarter of the Silver Moon Daughters. If you want to find out how to win and what is involved in that, then stick around for the Kickstarter part later on in the show. Otherwise, sit back and relax because your weekend starts here. Hello everybody and welcome to the Weekender. I'm joined by John, Shay and Ben. Say hello.
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 Oh, we all did a silly voice.
And that will be very appropriate for our indie in a moment. But we have a fairly packed show this week, as is our want in life. Weirdly, we don't have anything exciting and weird to tell you about that we've been up to.
There's stuff coming, but you have to wait till next week to hear about the things that are happening in the week after.
So yeah, we don't have anything to bring you up to speed on, so we can just get cracking straight into the show. However, John and I did look at the new plastics from Team Yankee this week for the Nord.
You did,
yeah.
So if you haven't seen that, I don't think they're out in the wild yet anywhere else.
No, and it's not one kit. It's 3 kits.
We look at many kits, including Frankenstein's creation.
The Marksman is coming out this weekend.
Oh, well, there you go.
But the other stuff isn't yet. So
it's a bit further down the line. So if you're interested in a bit of the old Cold War gone hot in the 15 mils, then you can have a look at that. But otherwise, it's time to get cracked into the Indie of the Week.
Ooh.
And this week's Indie of the Week is a little bit different. We're going a bit
different?
RPG.
Oh,
and there's a reason we're going a bit RPG. Because Exalted Funeral, who are a fantastic little company, are having their Endless Summoner sale.
Oh, I see what they did there.
See what they did there? It's like Endless Summer, but with creepy demons.
Even though summer is basically over here in England and Ireland, so there we go. But,
no, it only runs this weekend, which is why I want to show them.
Makes sense, yeah.
So you have until Monday to pick some of the stuff up.
To
but
do
the website anyway is quite interesting. I will say it only started on Wednesday. Yeah, started on Wednesday, and there was some free merch. It's all gone. Don't look for the free merch. There are free things still. But the merch, the frisbees and the beach towels and stuff.
Wow.
I mean, they went like that. I got the email late at night because I'm up too late as things are. And I was like, I'll go and have a look at these. And by the time I'd started clicking things into a cart, the Americans had swarmed it and it was gone. However, I will show you a couple of the free bits they have. So I will throw a caveat in here. There are things that you see are listed as free with a no-cost price and a costy price. So you may get in there and take a look at the Eternal Return key and discover that the PDF is free, but there's a print version you can pay for.
I see.
Or sometimes vice versa. There's a print version that is free. You have to pay for shipping. So you can bundle up a load of the free stuff and then just pay for shipping. But then there's like a PDF version that will cost you something. So there's an interesting little card game as well. But there's a whole host of things in here. Like there's the card battles. See what they've done there. That in of itself is bizarre. A business card game of car warfare. So it is essentially Mad Max / Gaslands, but all done by the medium of little cards like this.
Oh, that's cool.
You track your engine and your armor, and your card just sort of does donuts around the table with your little sort of 8-bit style creations there. which I just think is absolutely adorable. So this is one of the ones where you can grab it. Obviously, they're in America, so if you're going to be getting a lot of the free stuff and shipping it, you may end up paying a bit for the shipping. But I mean, it's worthwhile jumping in and having a nosy around, see what you can see, what sort of floats your boat or blows up your car, depending how you're feeling. In the office, no one can hear you scream. It's like they've gone ahead and decided to do a free RPG day by themselves.
Yeah,
it's like, you know, we're going to do this, but we have such a big catalog of stuff that there's so much we can get into. So these are all the endless
epic
summer.
Hole of Horror. I love it.
You have until midnight on July 31st.
Plenty of time.
Yes.
Ish.
Well, I mean, pretty much. There's Kvuckborg. Don't know what that is. Maybe some sort of quiche.
Quiches can sometimes be evil. So
yeah. Before we have a look at the free bits and pieces, I will take a dive through the rest of their site. So as you can see, they have breakdown by game systems and also then by product types. So if I come out of this, because this is the free bits, and we go into just the Exalted funeral stuff that belongs to them. I think they do sell stuff that they ship in, so essentially they're a distributor as well. But as you can see, they have 108 adventure books.
Nice.
80 core RPG books and so on and so forth. And you can see up here, some of them will work for various games. I am...
Lots for Mjörkberg.
Lots for Mjörkberg and Into the Odd as well.
Yeah. Both great games.
I'm not entirely certain. It's possible if they weren't a distributor, they may have been the publisher for the original Into the Odd before it got the second edition was published by Free League. So there is stuff in there. So for example, if I do that, you can see it's Into the Odd is a very stripped down psychedelic RPG.
Yeah,
there's a lot of weirdness going on there, and as you can see, screaming amongst the stars.
The way that I view it is that Alice in Wonderland is quite trippy, kind of acid trippy.
Yes.
But imagine if that was like double.
It's a good way to do it.
It's very trippy.
Yeah. So.
And as you can see, a lot of that comes in with these.
There's something I absolutely love about the whole stylized RPG thing that we're getting at the moment now with that was kind of came out with Mjörkberg and then has sort of developed with all of the spin-offs that have come from that and everything as well.
Since we're talking about Mjörk, we'll have a look at Forbidden Sam. So Forbidden Sam is
their miniatures game.
Miniatures game for Mjörkberg. And because they're done on sort of an open license, anybody can write any sort of supplements or whatever they want. The core game, Forbidden Sam. Do I own it? Yes, I do.
Why did you even ask?
Because it's one that's always on the background where I'm going, I should buy that. And then occasionally I end up with doubles of things. So sometimes I need to be careful. Anyway, so the miniatures side, the little skirmish game, which is peculiar in and of itself, but then you've got other people have then gone, right, RPG has spawned the miniatures game, and then the miniatures game has got other authors going, you know what, this is fantastic. I think I could write some interesting additions for that, whether it's like monsters, beastry, scenarios, whatever it happens to be. So here you have like a whole expansion where you're having to try and keep your little wizard's warband live.
It's the perfect game for something we're going to be talking about later in the show. So.
Yes. Yes, it is. So they have, like I say, a mixture of stuff. They do have one particular section that is listed as system agnostic. However, as you're going to see in some of the free bits and pieces, a lot of this, even though it says it's for a specific system, I would just grab it and go, yeah, I'm having that. And I'm going to use X, Y, and Z out of that book for mine, so I don't really mind.
Tables to roll on are tables that can work with anything.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Unicorn meat. Can I see what that's about?
Can you see what that? Only if I see what Settlers of a Dead God is.
I kind of wanted to see the chivalric
bromance one.
Yeah.
Romance. You've got it. That is unicorn meat right there.
It's wonderful.
The important thing is, like the buffalo, you must use all the parts of the unicorn. Otherwise, it's just wasteful. It's a Southern Gothic horror
Wow.
Inspired by Lisa the Painful, True Detective, and Lord of the Flies. Oh, if anybody was fans of first series of True Detective.
Set in the decaying ruins of the last unicorn farm in the world.
That should be absolutely fantastic.
Beautiful. I want it.
And some of these books go from big hardbacks to small sort of A5 pamphlet-y paperback, self-back stuff.
Mm.
There's the Settlers of the Dead Gods, because we all know my fondness for creep. And it's very creepy. Is that some sort of unusual lobster attacking a termite colony?
That's
that are
what
trying to arm themselves with crossbows.
Yeah. That's what happens when you pick the sentient lobster from the tank at dinner.
The termite looks like it's wearing a beanie as well.
He may well be, actually.
That means it's an SAS beanie.
Yeah.
Termite, yeah.
SAS termites.
Loading a crossbow as well.
Yeah. You've got to keep them away somehow.
So you play as like bugs. That's cool.
You two can play amongst the carpet fibers. Go full Rick Moranis.
Reminds me of Hollow Knight, a very good video game. And that vibe. Very cool. Mm.
So, yes.
Should we have a look at Chivalric Bromance for John?
I will have a look at Chivalric Bromance for John.
I seen it and I was like, I'm not sure about this.
You can be a gay, queer, or...
a game about exiled LGBTQ plus knights and their queer companions. Very
Fair
cool.
enough.
Yeah.
I'm glad I pointed that out.
Do so.
I love that it's
I
love that it's distinctly for thirsty adventurers.
Sure. That makes sense.
You fell into a thirst trap.
OSE, Old School Essentials. If anybody's ever played the original Dungeons and Dragons, it was a terrifying game where you will not survive ever.
How many hit points do you have? 2? Oh.
Yeah. There's no point in looking. You won't need it. The first time you encounter something, you'll be dead. Yeah. So I like the fact that the Old School Essentials people, there they are, have been pushing out these, because you get crusty players who really just like the old hack/thrust games with, permanent danger. These days, everybody in Dungeons and Dragons is a god. You walk into town and then punch the mayor in the face and the town explodes. I think you often wrestle Tiamat after lunch. It's not as much fun. Whereas this, the first time you meet a bunch of kobolds, you're thinking these little dog-faced bastards are going to kill me. And then it all goes horribly, horribly wrong. So the Old School Essentials is cracking as well. But yeah, a whole host of stuff that can be played in a whole slew of systems across the board now. If I stop this, I will show you one of the PDFs, because this one's a little wacky one. Actually, I'm going to show you probably a couple of them, but I'm going to start with this one. So the Eternal Return Key. So this is one of the free ones you can get off of the front page. It's peculiar, I will say that. Right off the bat, this is the Bear Ghost version. It does explain some things in here. For example, it's like one of those mangas, like what the kids read. So you read it back to front. I will start at the front, which is technically the back, because I'm scrolling down and I'm old. But it's an interesting one because it explains that it's a sort of a psychedelic, industrial, futuristic sci-fi game.
Okay.
But the interesting thing is it's written in sort of 3 parts. There's the game mechanics, there's the internal monologue, and there's like a demon that's accompanying you. But it solves that problem of how do you introduce people to a world that they theoretically grew up in but know nothing about.
Yeah.
Which is always a problem when you have a really out there or new RPG. It's difficult to go, well, you're on the planet Zargbarg and you all know that there's 3 moons and that cats eat dogs at night. But until somebody's gone, why is that cat eating a dog? You don't really, you've got no frame of reference.
Yeah.
This one gets around it by the fact that, you just wake up and there's like a heads up display and you get these terms, numbers, attributes slink through the shadows of your consciousness. Is this how the demon sees you? Level 1, life 8, save 13. So stats. A whirl, your level is 1. What does that mean? Cats have 9 lives, right? Is life 8 bad? What are the hero dice? Save from what? The HUD flare flashes. Don't worry, says the demon player. So the demon is possibly controlling you. You're seeing everything. You wake up with no memory somewhere, and there you go. But this is one of these where I'm saying it's great, even if you don't plan on playing this game, but for generating stuff. So you get these tables to roll on where you have like a fragment for each, something that's maybe a memory that's going on behind the scenes, but also how you've ended up there, how you've been reborn, and finally, what sort of stuff have you got in your pocket? A laser screwdriver. Other people here play together, crew, a mission, refugees, a name on your cryo underwear. It has that sort of weirdness. So there's a really nice set of tables about generating yourself for the game. I will now go all the way to the start. And so, if you're playing it this way and you read that, look, it has a little read this way thing. I don't know why people do this. I understand why other cultures write their stuff that way, but when we translate in English, can we not just flip the pages? Anyway.
It's not allowed, Jerry.
I'm very confused.
You can just print it out, Jerry, and just the way you want.
That's how the magic happens. But yeah, so this way you see the actual game mechanics. It starts off with the roll and goes through into the character sheets and the standard sort of stuff. And these are all like little 30-page pamphlet-y things, which I adore. A group of some good friends of mine wrote a load of role-playing games when they were up in Korean University and were published in Korean, and they're all like little 30-page books.
Oh, wow.
That. So these very much are very fun for me, and it's really nice to see other people are still doing this little self-published. I have an idea
kind of
that I want
zine
to get out
style
there.
thing. Yeah.
So that was one of the free ones. I'm going to show you the free bundle now, which is somewhat different. In fact, I'm going to go. It was 1.5 giglibits to download. Can you see my folder?
Ooh.
Yes.
This is like looking at something that Lloyd's about to share.
So this is the free RPG bundle, the one at the top of the screen. This is the Endless Summoner bundle. Some of these are full games, some of these are supplements. There are zip files within my zip files. It's so big. Anything there grab your eye?
Saw something up above that was called By Odin's Beard, is it?
By Odin's Beard. I will open that, and then I will go across to it.
Anything that says something to do with Vikings is
it's always a good one.
It's always a good one. Yeah.
So there we
it's
go.
Probably nothing about. It's not probably nothing to do with Odin.
So there's Runecairn
beneath the broken sword.
So this is a 16-page, what looks to be little adventure. Yes, so it's a little adventure. Odin's Beard RPG. So there you have a little Nordic, Icelandic saga that you two can get butchered horribly by some sort of creepy monster. Creepy. And there are some other weird and wacky ones that I won't spend ages going through them all. But let me just find some of the interesting ones. There we go. Trench coats and trench cats.
Trench cats.
What I'm going to say, some sort of World War I style horror. As you can see, trench cats
all
are not
trench
right.
Cats can eat the face of a downed enemy for 1 HP.
Yes. Yes, they can. Look at that. It's not right. New horrors of war have been spotted. You two can go and see a Mary Lwyd. That's one of those Welsh rapping dead horse things.
The like a skull of a horse on a stick thing.
Yeah. If you lose a rap battle, they come in and drink all your beer. So yeah. This, I mean, it looks like it's got that type, the cramped type text of somebody in the trenches on their little keyboard, just tipping away on their typewriter. And to be fair, whenever I was a kid, I had a typewriter that I borrowed from my father, and I used to do things like this, like write scenarios and stuff out, and they'd be all like crap type, half impressed letters and stuff. It's just great, absolutely amazing. That one's obviously sweet to the beat. There is a bigger one in here. If people missed it, there is the Monty Python Quick Start Guide, along with the Pre-Gent Enchanter, Knight, Peasant, Troubadour.
I remember this.
So this is
not a role-playing game.
Not a role-playing game. It's assuming that Bitly still works. If it doesn't, it's up on Kickstarter to pre-order because they're getting close to finish on the publication, so you can go ahead and pre-order the whole thing. But if you want to see what it's like, and it's like all kinds of madness is what it's like, then you can see it in here. And if I go down at the very bottom, because I know you like that when I do that. Look at that.
Brilliant.
Hello, Mr. Man.
And then a Bigfoot.
The best way to deal with those
is
like that. But yeah, so a monumentally big package of
something
free
for
RPGs. That you can have a real swim around in, pick up something that you've never tried before. Try, if you've never RPG'd, if you've never role played, there's so much in there that you're bound to find something that you can go, oh, well, that's great. It's free. I'll give that a blast. I only need a D6 or a pack.
Yeah, so many of these are going to be quite rules light because they're attached to the idea of just sit down and play quick kind of things. A lot of them designed for conventions as well and that kind of thing. So picking stuff from that collection and giving it a go sounds like a great idea. Yeah.
And I mean, if you currently maybe just play Dungeons and Dragons, there's some D&D stuff, some 5e bits and pieces in there. Plus there's the older versions if you want to see where it all came from and get absolutely murdered by some kobolds or a rust monster. And then just go, oh my God, this is so hard. What do you mean elf and dwarf are a class, not a race? What's going on? I'm so confused. Then you can also do that, which is always great fun. But yeah, it's experience the world of role playing through the small creator. There are so many out there doing wonderful stuff, and not everything needs a budget of a small Hollywood movie and production values to make it worthwhile.
Very true.
I love the home written nature of some of them, and that's not to say that the artwork in them is terrible, because some of them are absolutely stunning as well. It depends on the design and the aesthetic of the person. What they were going for. So you get these very stark contrasts between the elaborate, the colorful, the wonderful, and then the very sort of stark. I'm doing this on a shoestring budget, and I'm going to do all the illustration artwork myself, and I think it's just absolutely terrific to see. So yeah, Exalted Funeral, the
good
most
pick.
fun you can have at a funeral. Unless it's an Irish funeral, in which case the wake is the most fun you can have at a funeral. They are magical. So much fun to go to. Right, we shall move on from our indie and take a look at some news.
Coming to you from the center of Northwestern Europe. Covering board games, war games, card games, and all that you love. It's the news.
Okay, we are back in time to take a look at some news. And first things first, we're midway through the year. It's an ideal time to start thinking about next year.
Of course, yeah.
And
it takes a really long time to plan campaigns for role-playing games anyway. So if you get that out of the way now, you should be sorted for when January rolls around. And Loke are going to be helping with that, with their series of releases that are up for pre-order now and coming out throughout the months of, August, September, and October, really. We start off with something that I think is an exceptionally good idea, and it's the Calendar of Many Adventures. So the Calendar of Many Adventures does what it says on the tin, just like Ronsil. Every single month is in there for the year, so you can use it as a regular calendar for planning your RPG sessions. But it also comes with a dungeon layout and a QR code that leads to an adventure for you to play each month. So if you can't get your D&D group together to play games every week, for example, I'm sure they could do a month. And you wouldn't even have to do any planning, because you'd literally just get the QR code, dive into the adventure, and start playing it, which I think is just an amazing idea. I think it's a great thing to have sort of hanging in your games room, so that every single time when your friends come around, they're like, "Oh, what's going on? Oh, that looks cool. Well, we could play it next week." So yes, a very awesome idea from Loke there. That will hopefully get a lot more people sitting down to get organized sessions of role play in.
Good luck, Skipper, on that one.
Yeah.
Seeing this at UKG, and I absolutely adored it. I love the idea of going. You hit your birthday and go, oh, it's a terrible. Well, in this case, it looks like some sort of luxurious castle. So my birthday's not too bad. Presumably these do run top to bottom.
Yes.
But you'd hit a point where you're just going, oh no, we're shipwrecked on Easter Island for my birthday. Paddy's Day on a beach, no alcohol in sight. March is going to suck.
I'm always going.
But you know how you get the little calendars, and when you're finished, you tear off the week or the month, and then go on to your next one. In this case, when you gently slice it out,
yes,
and then play your game on it.
Yes,
laminate them.
Yeah,
laminate them.
I think it's so cool. Yeah,
you're in 12 little books.
There's also the QR code links to sort of the PDF elements that you'll need to play the adventure, but you also get access to tabletop or virtual tabletop stuff as well. So you can use this on programs like Roll20 and all that kind of thing as well, if you want to dive in and use these for games online rather than just having to meet in person, which I think is awesome. And just to prove that it still works as a calendar, there you go. A pen.
I keep looking at that and thinking it's a coffee ring. Somebody set their bloody chalice down on the map.
Attacked by the evil demon Ken Ko. Yes.
I can't believe you said that.
In his Castle of Ness cafe. So,
right, stop it now.
Anyway. Right. So as well as the calendar of adventure for 2024, there's also 2 really fun collections for people diving into doing role-playing games with the RPG toolboxes. So these do what it says on the tin as well, really. Inside, you get maps, you get tokens, you get adventures, you get monsters, you get stat blocks, you get everything that you could want for playing out big adventures on the tabletop. There are 2 for you to choose from. There's the Veiled Dungeon and the Long Road. Each of them can be played as campaigns. They've been designed for 5th edition D&D, but there's no reason why you couldn't take the maps and the tokens and the ideas from these and translate them into different games. So if you want to use them for Pathfinder or Dragonbane or anything like that, you can do, which is pretty cool.
Old school essentials.
But yeah, everything is in there and it's all been set up for you to dive in and start playing your 5th edition games. They've also said that you can just take adventures from these and slot them into your own campaigns. So say you're playing something where you just want a couple of fun adventures and you don't necessarily have time to plan anything yourself. Over into these toolboxes, get everything from these and start playing some games using their adventures, their NPCs and their characters. There's nice walkthroughs for how to set it up. As I say, it's all tied into 5th edition, so as long as you've got those core rules or you've downloaded the free basic rules for the game, you'll be able to sort of use these and have some fun on the tabletop. But yeah, very cool little toolboxes.
I'm hoping to take a look at these shortly.
Ben?
Yes.
Is that castle of yours on the Costa Coast? I'm sorry.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
I'll be taking my leave very soon.
Yep. Just bubble and hearth.
I should point out there was a really cool axolotl like sorcerer in that, and there's a bug gentleman, and there's also a magical beer stein that serves you beer, which is great. So
best.
Oh, well, there you go. So there also appears to be some sort of mega sloth here that's very angry.
Yes. But yeah. A whole host of good stuff there for those people who want to dive in and make their lives a little bit easier when it comes to role-playing games. And last but not least, we have Tricks and Traps, which is hundreds of perilous pieces. So this comes with tokens, everything that you can drop onto your gaming mats, or you can use them online and stuff as well if you wanted to, I suppose. And you can pop out all these tokens and use them to represent, as you might have guessed, traps in your game boards. What's quite nice about this is that there are so many of them. There's like over 100 in the set that you can, and all of them have what the trap is on the bottom. So once your group becomes familiar with, oh, I've seen that chest before, I know that's got a trap on the bottom of it, there'll be 99 other ones for you to choose from to drop into your games, and they'll never be truly sure whether or not that trap, that chest is actually going to contain treasure or just deadly spikes and or a mimic. So yeah, really nice stuff there from Loke, which just kind of expands on what they've already got available for you to dive into. I know a lot of people use their stuff for role-playing games, which is their kind of prime focus, I guess. But there's also loads of people who use it for skirmish games as well. The big Battlemats and stuff they do are superb for putting together skirmish tables that are around kind of like 2x2, 3x3. You can even get bigger if you get some of the larger maps as well. But they've been designed to...
Rangers of Shadow Deep get an awful lot of play on them. I know that.
Lots of people playing games like that on there as well. So definitely go and check out what Loke have been up to. If you are in any way diving into role-playing games, maybe you've looked at some of the stuff that we looked at in the Indie of the Week. These could be handy tools for you to use to enhance your experiences. So yeah,
and there's 144 squares on those map tiles for the calendar, which leaves, 45 untrapped squares for your players to get across.
Very true, yeah.
How I would do it.
So the Long Road is out in August. The Veiled Dungeon is out in September. The Calendar Adventures also lands in September, and then Box of Tricks and Traps is in October. But you can pre-order all of these right now from the Loke web store if you go over and check it out.
Fancy, very fancy. Okay, moving away from the calendars of the future and taking a look at the historical Normandy of the past.
Yeah.
Warcradle have got a farm for us.
They have, yeah. So Warcradle Scenics tend to do big terrain sets. They'll normally release a huge one, and then you'll be able to buy all the individual components later on. Their latest one for the month of August is the 28mm scaled Normandy farm set. So this has been designed for you to use it in basically any of your World War II games, really. A big focus, I think, for this one will be games like Bolt Action, and 0200 Hours, I think, would be particularly good on this set. It comes with a cottage, a barn that can be either designed as destroyed or intact. There's also a workshop as well, which is the thing you can see on the right of the image there as well. There's all the walls. They too can be designed as damaged or fine. There's also the checkpoint, the scatter terrain, and there's also the nice little windmill in there as well. All of this stuff comes kind of pre-colored, pre-painted, essentially. So once you got it all glued together with whatever medium you prefer, it'll essentially be good to go, and would essentially fill a good 4x4 table, essentially. Although, of course, you could take this stuff and sort of add it to a larger board and have lots of farmland outside of it as well. So you can have tanks battling out there while you've got infantry are fighting over the farm set itself. Because it comes with the checkpoint, that's where I'm kind of going in this kind of vibe of 0200 Hours or 0200 Hours, because I think it would be amazing to have this as kind of like a German occupied farm that they've taken off some poor Frenchman and they're using it maybe as their forward base as the invasion is pushing up from the coast or something, and you've got to send in your commandos to try and sneak in there, take out the captain or something, and open up this roadway through into the nearby village or something, which I think would be really cool. And just because it has all these nice little narrative elements to it, I think it's just ripe for telling a story. Like that windmill definitely has to have a sniper in it.
That one.
Yeah.
Whereas I automatically went and just thought Windy Miller jumped in.
Maybe Windy Miller with a sniper rifle.
I always thought he would be the one to go, to be fair.
But yeah, all the interiors are coloured and designed as well, so you can fight around inside them, which is great, as you can see there in the destroyed portion. So if you are going to be doing a little bit of sneaking around and stuff like that, you've got nice little options for sort of telling little stories. I love the idea of like balancing on the beams with your SAS troops with their daggers out ready to drop on some Germans or something like that. I think that'd be really cool. You could even have lots of secrets put inside the building, and then as you play through the game, reveal something and have like vehicles or stuff in there. It'd be cool.
All I've got in my head is the episode of Allo Allo where they're at the funeral. And like the French resistance are hiding out in the barns and stuff, and there's a hearse rolling down the hill with a bomb in it.
Why not?
That's going to be the next scenario to play, definitely.
I'm curious now as to actually the first thing I'm curious about is I think whoever glued this together for Warcradle put this lean-to set of roof tiles upside down.
Looks that way.
They should all be sloping away. Yeah. You're going to end up with, well, thankfully it's a lean-to. It's it's not going to cause damp.
There's a little bit of guttering in between there. So.
But terrible. But I'm curious as to whether or not there's enough to make that intact and then have the second destroyed barn, or will it have to be an either or?
Oh, I think you get the choice with that, which one to build it. So you'd have to buy like a
you'll have to use the side and the two of the intact sides along with the.
Although if you're enterprising, maybe you could make it so those two bits popped off on those two walls or something. Yeah.
If you're having the destroyed walls and destroyed floor, you might be able to get away with not having anything on this side, or there's bound to be little off-cutty bits.
Yeah.
I'm sure you must be able to make it so you can. Yeah. Anyway, that's just me. I just like the idea of dropping something massive onto a barn in the middle of a game.
When the mortars actually range in.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they just do,
I'll get you on turn 4.
Now I'm going to put the destroyed part on. Good luck hiding from me now.
Very cool. But yeah, I think it's a really nice little narrative set that kind of will get
really
people.
Love the vehicles. Vehicles are really cute.
It's just awesome little scout terrain. Yeah. Just nice things to hide behind that kind of add life to the tabletop as well. And, obviously the truck and the tractor are particularly modern things, but crates and pallets and things could be used in anything really. So you've got some other options there as well. Which is good.
I don't think pallets are that old.
What? Huh?
I don't.
I'm with you, Joe. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb and say pallets weren't a thing until like the 70s.
Wrong.
In that case, then historical inaccuracy.
Because forklifts didn't exist.
Well, that's it. It's when did forklifts and pallet trucks and things like
that.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, that'd be handy for modern combat anyway.
Sorry for nerding.
All of that's good for modern.
Yes, it's very good.
I mean, I've seen some tractors that make that look like something exciting and new.
There's still tractors around my house that look like that.
So,
there is also obviously the added bonus that most of Europe hasn't changed since the mid 20th century anyway. So you could use a lot of that stuff to represent modern.
The parts that weren't flattened in the 40s,
yeah.
There's no point in modernizing.
Yeah,
seeing the modern, it's not that great. Stick with the old. Right, who's up next?
So next up, I was talking about 0 to 100 hours there. A YouTube channel that has kind of been focusing my attention on that game recently has been Seventh Son, who has done some really good Let's Plays of that game. But they also absolutely love their Wars of the Roses, and they have decided to create their own range of miniatures under the banner of Ragged Staff Minis, which is very sort of applicable to the Wars of the Roses period. So they've worked alongside a favourite of Lloyd's, Reconquer Design.
Yes.
Who does amazing miniatures for medieval period and lots of things beside that as well. And so they've designed their first 4 miniatures that immediately sold out on Etsy, but they should be coming back. So don't worry. If you like the look of these, you'll be able to get your hands on them in the future. So
I seen the news story and went, and clicked on Etsy, and Etsy was blank. I was like,
I was very lucky. I clicked on Etsy and they were all there, and it was like, I'm not doing War of the Roses. And then I closed it.
So if only Jerry had been John. Oh, no. So the 4 miniatures that you get your hands on are the Loyal Standard Bearer, which you can see there, the Knight Baronet with hammer at the ready, the Captain of Archers, my favourite of the miniatures, an old grizzled veteran, and also the melee or melee archer, I suppose, that you can use in your armies. As I say, there's only 4 miniatures, so they're not going to, be the basis of a new army, but they're a nice way for you to kind of supplement what you already have potentially from other creators, maybe from some stuff from Perry's, for example. And they've all been scaled to kind of match with 28mm as well, so they should be a nice fit for what is already out there. All of the miniatures come with various options for them as well, so you don't necessarily have to have the Loyal Standard Bearer there with the banner on his shoulder. He could have that held out in front of him like he's been training his arms for months just to carry that banner. We know there are plenty of politicians who've done lots of training to carry things recently. And then he could have the hammer over his shoulder as well. And the same goes for the other miniatures as well in the collection. So the Knight Baronet, the Captain of Archers, and the Melee Archer can all be given various different weapons depending on what you would like to arm them with, which is quite nice. So you've got bill hooks, swords, falchions, bucklers, and everything else in between. I say they've all sold out on Etsy as of this moment, but they are going to be coming back due to popular demand. And hopefully this will be enough for Ragged Staff and Seventh Son to look at maybe commissioning a few more miniatures from Reconquer to kind of add to the range and take it in different directions. It'd be nice to see if they do some new sets that cover different historical periods, because obviously Seventh Son plays in loads of different periods of warfare. Been doing Dark Ages and World War II and Wild West gaming as well. So big fan of Dead Man's Hand.
Dead Man's Hand, yeah. That's true.
That was having a look at.
Yeah, some really nice figures. That was a little size comparison with a Perry plastic, by the way, in the middle. Yes. So you can see that they scale quite well. But yeah, Martin has been putting money aside. I think it's if you're unaware of Seventh Son YouTube channel and you'd like majority historic, although occasionally non-historic things creep in there, the crazy weird stuff, then you should definitely check out Seventh Son. And then every Monday he's part of the Plastic Crack podcast with Ken and Dom and Steve, who all also have, most of them have their own YouTube channels, like Bits on the Table and stuff like that, where they just do like a 2-hour paint chat and talk about bits and pieces. So yes, those two YouTube channels are absolutely corker. But essentially he was going, I get pittance from YouTube views, and rather than just, piss my £1 away every 3 months or whatever it was he squirreled it away in a separate place, and then thought, you know what, I'll do something proper with this. And so saved up all his pennies from the YouTubes, and then right, I've got enough to get some models sculpted. So I'd love to see more from him. It may be a while before the YouTube coffers are filled again, before we see anything exciting and new.
They are misers, I will say.
Yeah. So. Well, my latest favorite one is YouTuber now reaching out to YouTube channels and go, do you want to pay us to promote your videos? No. You barely give me any money. Why would we give you $100 back? Please go away, Google. But look at that. Everybody loves a Sally helm. Well, I say everybody. I do. It's my favorite of all the helmets.
You can have the Knight Baronet with either his helmet off or on. Yeah. But a nice little detail with that one as well is that he's been sculpted so that he has like a slashed what's it called? I can't remember what it's called now.
The tabard.
Yeah, a slash tabard. So it looks like he's in the midst of combat, which is quite nice. And there's been a lot of back and forth apparently between them and Reconquer Designs to get those miniatures looking historically accurate, but also cool.
Well, that was it. It was it's very easy to come up with a cool pose, but a lot of what was happening with the sculptor was he's going, that looks cool, but that armor wouldn't allow
human
him to
bodies
bend
don't
like
work
that. Yes, you can do this, but with that scalloped armor, he's not doing that.
He's choked himself.
He'll have severed his carotid artery. So
like every good space marine.
The idea was to get something that looked really, really nice, but also dynamic and feasible, rather than just going, I'm just going to put some more muscles on that Minotaur. Just saying. Anyway, yes.
Very cool stuff.
Looking forward to seeing more from Ragged in the future. Hopefully it won't be too long.
No.
If all of you just go start watching his videos, that'll give him slightly more pennies from
That's true, yeah.
Yeah. Do that.
Maybe drop some comments in the videos and be like, hey, maybe cool if you built this. Sent from Ben and Jerry and John and Shay. We can all have our own ideas for what he should do next.
Don't care as long as they've got Sally Helms on. Right. Yeah, sharp. Anyway, Malifaux have got some new releases coming for August. Which is,
so I know you're I know you're diving into a little bit of Malifaux, going to be playing some games or have played some games. I can't remember by now.
I'm playing this weekend. So I've got little creepy Malifaux things that I'm working on.
If you want to learn about the painting and the things that Jerry's been doing, make sure to go and watch XLBS from last week where he talks about his ideas. Very cool.
And then maybe again in 3 weeks' time when he gets to talk about it again.
When he gets to talk again, but the month of August sees some new releases for the world of Malifaux from the folks at Weird. And these ones go in a little bit of a different direction from what a lot of people are used to. I think the overriding view of Malifaux is that it's kind of like a lot of humans very Wild West vibes, and then you have the Neverborn, who are demons. And everyone's like, cool, right, cool. So I know the two sort of like styles of character that we're going to get in this game. Well, this is a couple of new sets that are coming out that cover the Awa, who are a Fae faction within the world of Malifaux. They are from like the deepest, darkest past of the game and the universe, where they were kind of almost driven to extinction by sort of strange, terrible forces. And they kind of live out their lives in the ruins of their once mighty civilization. Well, they're coming back with a new set of box sets that kind of take their peoples in two different directions, which I think is really cool. So you've got the Tiri core box, which is the one that you see there, which features the character, as you can see, Tiri, alongside Ket, Ouroboros, and the Awa warriors, which I think are just amazing. If anybody's played the kind of relaunch of God of War, which is the Viking one, the design of the elves in that video game, very similar to what we're seeing from the Awa here, which I think is a really nice little sort of touch. But this set can be used as either the outcasts or the explorers, depending on which way you want to go with it. And it's one of the nice things about Malifaux as well, is that you can sort of use different leaders in different factions, depending on the kind of flavor of game that you want to play, which I think is quite nice.
Also, well, there's this.
Yes, the keywords.
This is something I've learned recently, that essentially your leader denotes kind of how you're going to build the gang, and then they will have a specific keyword that's tied to it. So then if you want to go, well, what else do I buy to supplement this crew, you just go and look at other boxes that have the bygone keyword,
and you're like, this will be a good match for this.
They can be added in that way.
So this is the set of sort of Fae creatures that have got this really nice alien style vibe to them. You could almost see them as being like a species from another planet or something, but I really like that's been sort of dragged into the kind of pulpy fantasy world of Malifaux. There's then two other sets. One that's focused more on the explorer side of thing, and then one for the outcasts. So you've got the Tenacious Tradition one, which by the very nature of the name of this box kind of gives you an idea of the way that these folks are going. They're obviously trying to preserve the past maybe of the Awa in the world of Malifaux, and you get Parson there with his pretty awesome hammer, and it's a walking anvil.
Sure.
Because you definitely need to have that by your side when you're on the battlefield. I'll just straighten your sword for you, mate. Yeah. And then you have the very weird Iron Matron, which is definitely a creature from Elden Ring.
That's
looking
there's
very
a lot
cool
going
indeed.
on there.
Again with these kind of like weird alien Fae vibes to them, which I think is really nice, and it kind of it hits that uncanny note that you tend to get with kind of classic mythology and the view of the Fae, which I think is really cool.
I also like the fact that she's got wind chimes, so you can hear her coming. She can't sneak up on you with her massive tuning fork sword.
Whenever she hits someone in armor, it gives this.
I imagine she rings like a bell as she walks around there, because it's like a double layer thing.
Yeah, I quite like that idea now.
She's sort of scuttling towards you.
And then the second
Balkan dancers, the ladies with the dresses who looks like they just float because their feet just go. That's what she does.
Yes,
floats towards you, rattling like a bell.
I want that to now be errated onto the cards, so that there's now rules specifically for that.
Yep.
Might be the case. You also have the set for the Forge and New Path. So all of these, as you can see, all tie into the bygone keyword, which is great. But they kind of take things in a different direction. So this has got the First Light, which is that awesome sort of character that kind of hits that sci-fi vibe, which is neat. And then you have the Ancient Constructs, which I think are so cool, and it's very in keeping with the idea of like a Fae elf-like race having access to sort of automata that they have created in order to keep them alive and stuff.
Floyd was,
and they're still going with this idea of like keys and locks and that kind of stuff and instruments. And
there's been awful of shiny going on. Let's hope whatever they have locked away, they keep locked away.
Yes, definitely.
That is just
another amazing set there that I think people will be very much in love with. It's one of those things. One of the nice things about Weird and what they've done with Malifaux over the last couple of years is that they've honed in on the personality and the style of particular factions that are like key to everybody. But then they've gone off and done some really nice things with the introduction of people like the Explorers and sort of taking them in a different direction and giving us fun and interesting ideas to play with. And then going like deep into the past and being like, let's do something totally off the wall that might be that thing that draws a new player in to play the game. Because if you've looked at Malifaux and you're like, oh, well, I kind of like things like elves and stuff like that from fantasy. Well, now you have a faction that might sort of ring your bell, as it were. So,
like an Iron Matron.
Like an Iron Matron.
Ding dong, ding dong. Yeah, they do look absolutely fantastic. I'm really looking forward to playing it this weekend as well. Let's hope it doesn't suck.
It's a great game. I think you'll enjoy it.
I imagine I will.
Yeah.
I enjoy most things. Except the stuff I don't, in which case you'll hear about it ad nauseum, whether you want to or not. Yeah. Right. After the Malifaux, we're going to be taking a look at a legacy version of a Ticket to Ride.
Yeah. So taking things in a different direction with a beloved classic. A lot of people will know Ticket to Ride, which is a excellent sort of gateway board game for people to dive into and have fun with. It's been around for a very long time, designed by Alan R. Moon. It's not Moore. But Alan
I would love to see
Moon.
The Alan Moore version.
That would be amazing.
Ticket to Ride. Would be right.
Just,
a lot of magic.
Blood. But he has joined forces with Rob Davio and Matt Leacock, who a lot of people will know for designing legacy versions of games like Pandemic and Risk in the past as well. And this new game takes all of the core mechanics of what people like to Ticket to Ride, but then adds the legacy game on top of it. So similar to what you've played in Ticket to Ride before, you'll be collecting cards from a deck, you'll be trying to attempt journeys, and you'll be filling in those spaces on the map with your trains in order to complete tickets, and that gives you points. But the fun thing with this one, and you note this via the kind of puzzle nature of the board, is that you will play 12 games of this, and over that campaign, as it were, you will unlock different boxes, which is a lovely thing in legacy games. And each of these boxes will come with new mechanics, new ideas, new locations for you to explore, new objectives for you to accomplish, and all sorts of different things like that. And this means that over the course of your 12-game campaign of Ticket to Ride, you'll create your own unique version of the game for you to then play in the future. A little bit like what they did with Pandemic and Risk in that format, where you created your own worlds that you've sort of told the story of over the course of your game, which I think is quite nice. This means that you'll have really fun things going on with all the different sort of corporations that are trying to build their locomotive empires across the tabletop. Of all the games that I was thinking of that would get a legacy version of it, I wasn't sure it was going to be Ticket to Ride, but now I think about it, it really makes sense because it's that kind of heading out west, traveling across the frontier, building train lines and that kind of thing. So as someone who quite likes Ticket to Ride, it's a nice little fun game. Maybe this one will be on my radar, as I think it could be quite fun to see what they do with the legacy mechanics of this one. And maybe if you've played Ticket to Ride in the past and you were thinking about coming back to it potentially, this might be a good way for you to do so. So yeah, very nice.
It's interesting. I haven't played much Ticket to Ride, but if a new board section gets added and your corporation was cut off from the routes that are going into it, how much will that impact you?
Well, the game will essentially, it'll be interesting to see what they do with it, because I would assume that there'll be some benefit for you being the people that forge these new paths.
Yes.
But what's quite nice about the game is that even though there are coloured routes on there, that just denotes the colour of cards you need in order to complete those routes.
Okay.
So even though there's say a lot of yellow routes there, that's not necessarily just for the yellow player kind of thing. So it'll be very interesting to see what they do when it comes to what you get for being the people that expand in those directions. But essentially the game will still play the same way. So
that's interesting.
But there's even like a little locomotive card holder thing at the back.
I have noticed that, yes. This may be your way to draw Lloyd into
it might be.
Games.
It might be.
A game of trains. I mean, I think you just, right off the bat, we just use that massive cover image of the Ticket to Ride thing and just throw it in there and see how long it takes Lloyd to bite to ask what is going on. Why is this happening? Where's the world come from?
But yeah, I would assume we're going to be, because Gen Con is next weekend. I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot more stuff coming out at Gen Con about this. So maybe we'll see some more previews of the game and see what people think of it. But keep an eye out for that one if you're a fan of Ticket to Ride and legacy games in general. So
okay. We have a little bit of Whamster news.
We do.
Before we run off into the night.
Yeah. In the wake of all of the 40k news, there is also the Mortal Realms that exists.
So they say.
And so we've got a couple of new previews and sort of looks ahead for what's coming out for Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and in particular Warcry over this weekend and in the near future. So this weekend, pre-orders go live for the new starter set for Warcry, which comes with 2 cut down warbands that represent the Crimson Court, who are your vampires, and Zandir's Truth Seekers, who are your Stormcast Eternals. These were previously Warhammer Underworld's warbands that got added as what are called Bladeborn in Warcry, which means that they are named characters that don't sort of level up in the same way as other characters do in the game, but they're kind of like powerful and allows you to use.
Bring somebody a bit punchy.
Yeah, allows you to bring someone a bit more punchy into the game. So this kind of is a nice sort of introduction level style affair for Warcry without having to have too much extra stuff on top of it. You get the 2 warbands, as you can see there. You also get the new terrain, which is this kind of vampire crypt where some sort of magical secret has been kept. And of course, that's why the Truth Seekers are there to try and claim it and stop the Crimson Court.
It's blood.
It's always blood.
It's always blood.
Because there does seem to be a huge bucket of blood attached to this crypt right up here.
Why does Sigmar want a bucket of blood? Don't ask questions.
Best not.
You also get all the tokens, the dice, the cards, and there's the playing mat that you get there in there as well. So you've got lots of different options for diving in. Hopefully it'll come in at a relatively reasonable price. It's got 2 repackaged warbands in there, both of which I own, annoyingly, but there we go. I might just buy this for the terrain and stuff, though, even if it's actually, as long as it's relatively well priced, I might pick this up anyway. But if it's a nice little entry point thing for Warcry, I think it'd be worth having a look at.
The warbands on Fleabay, somebody will buy them.
Yeah, probably.
Make your money back.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, watch out for that. In addition to that, the 2 warbands from the last set that came out, the one that I bought and still haven't assembled, Pile of Potential. You can get your hands on the Questor Soul Swarm and the Royal Beast Flayers. So if you want your Knights Errant from the Stormcast Eternals, you've got those to choose from, and also the folks that believe that they are royalty but in fact are slavering beasts. You've got those options there as well. So they're now available separately, are going to be available separately from their main box set. So if you want to pick those up as warbands, you'll be able to do that. It'll come with all the cards in there for playing with them in your games.
Interesting. I'll never get past the baboon faces on those weird feral vampires.
Yeah.
So I imagine they've got big red arses as well. We just can't see.
Probably, yeah. They are individual ghouls who have been thrown into a pit because they've done something horrible, and they have decided that in their minds they are hunting hounds now, and so that's why they've twisted and warped the way that they have.
Sure.
Because of course these are the Bretonnians, but not really Bretonnians. There we go. So yeah. Some nice stuff there for Warcry if you want to get stuck in, and also pick up some new warbands. I think that start set should be good, as I say, as long as the price is all right, as Brucey would say. But as well as that, we also have a preview of a new warband. So this is one that's coming out alongside the release of the new Cities of Sigmar range for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. So these are the Wildercorpse Hunters. They are essentially the veterans, the hunters, the scouts that go ahead of the crusades that are heading out from the mighty cities of Sigmar to forge new locations in the mortal realms. There are almost as many dogs in the set as there are humans, which I think is quite nice. So if you like good boys, then you definitely want to pick up this set. There's something inherently kind of Cities of Sigmar-y Mortal Realms about it, but more than that, there is definitely something distinctly Mordheim about this, which I think is what a lot of people are going to be using these for. They're going to be taking them, they're going to be swapping some helmets around, and they're going to be using these to represent their warbands in games of Mordheim. Yeah, I mean, that guy has a head in his sock, so, you know.
So he does. That's not right. I know right, and that, not right.
You just need some fish, and it's Mordheim.
Well, there's a fish there, isn't it?
So, yeah.
What is that?
Yeah. It's
oh my
a
God.
mutant fish. Oh my God.
I don't know what that is. A little bit.
In which case, it definitely is Mordheim.
He's up there. Yeah, it looks like an anglerfish walking along beside him.
Yeah,
it's not
something
right.
weird has happened to him in the swamps of Gur. But yeah, a really fun little set that will be a nice addition to somebody's Cities of Sigmar army, I would assume as well, because they often come with the rules for you to use them in the large battle game as well. But if you're looking for a new Warcry warband and you want to have something that fits the theme of Cities of Sigmar, I'd definitely keep your eye out for this one. It should be coming down the line, not in the not too distant future. So watch out for that.
You can have Charles Dance with crossbows.
Yeah, you can. Charles Dance is getting everywhere. He's a Primarch. He's a crossbow wielding hunter. Yeah.
He's probably looking for his dwarf son. Give him payback.
Yeah.
Boom. 2 quarrels.
A couple of fun little things there for Warcry. Make sure to go and check those out. Watch out for the World Corp Hunters. And of course, the starter set is available over on store.ontabletop this weekend.
My merch.
So go and pre-order it. It's a great game, by the way, Warcry. Really fun skirmish game. Go and check it out. Yeah. You only need to buy like a dozen models. You don't have to buy a whole army to enjoy Warhammer Age of Sigmar. There we go. That's my sell. That's my sales pitch.
Yep. You do you, son. I'm sticking with Malifaux. Right. We're going to take a quick swish, and when we come back, we'll be looking at some 3D printing and some Kickstarters to wrap up the show. Also, if you could spot the 2 Red Dwarf mentions in those news stories, pop it below. See you soon. Okay, we are back and ready to take a look at some 3D printing. Ooh. And you found an unusual one via the medium of randomness. Did you roll some bones?
I did. I rolled some Knucklebones.
I see what you did there. This is a curious one for very many reasons.
God, yes. So as many people will know, over the last little while, we've been looking at things like the Doomed from Osprey, but in the past we've talked about lots of great games out there. Mordheim is still alive and well. There's the 28 scene, which is all about kit bashing and conversions and diving into really weird indie games. There's Forbidden Psalms, which we looked at earlier, which is a really fun little war game to dive into, where you've got sort of twisted, grimdark characters. And then, of course, there's games like Turnip28 and Sludge, which are all about weird, twisted, grimdark miniatures. And one company that does those in spades and has kind of nailed that sort of old hammer feel and aesthetic is Knucklebones Miniatures, who I, to my shame, only found out about this week because I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw Tuomas Pirinen is sort of hanging around talking about his new game that he's been diving into, and he's been chatting with some people up in Nottingham and things, and this company popped up, and immediately when I saw it I was like, well, I know where I'm going this week for 3D printing.
You should have. I mean, if only we'd known, we would have said, because there was that time Justin and myself modeled for them. We call this diorama, Justin, where's that edit? Is it done yet?
Oh, that's the cover. There we go. Knucklebones create miniatures that wouldn't look out of place in all of those games that we've just mentioned there. There are twisted warbands that have been drawn from the imagination of Mordheim. There are collections that would fit for kind of uncanny, weird Napoleonic adventures where you're covered in mud and blood and roots. There are strange ponies laden down with equipment that your adventurers have been using as they head out.
All the stuff. Great for Silver Bayonet as well.
Yeah, great for Silver Bayonet. Solid stuff if you're exploring the wilderness in Frostgrave as well. You can drop that into there. It'll be quite a nice little one.
And good eating on a pony if all things go horribly wrong for you.
Yeah. Oh no, the pony fell on the cliff. Dinner time.
So. Yeah, garlic.
Yeah, it comes with garlic. Yeah. But I mean, like, that I think that's a fairly accurate representation of the kind of stuff you will find as part of the Knucklebones range. One of the things.
Sorry, I was just going to say we often talk about old school style sculpting, and generally when we do so, it's an indie and they're using green stuff and the like. This is probably one of the first times I've seen something that I would go, it's old hammer, it's old style aesthetic, but it's being applied to a 3D sculpture.
Yes.
I'm sure there are others out there and people
weirdly, that was exactly what I was going to say. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yes. It's like we share a brain.
It is digital sculpting that is so inherently kind of fingerprints and pushed putty and green stuff and everything like that, which I think is an incredible skill to have been able to do with this. And there's just so many like treasures in here that you could use for so many different games.
He has the look of somebody who's just unloaded both of his hand cannons into the monster, and it's not even slowed down. It's just the hands at his side and the oh no.
Or he's loaded them and he's accidentally shot his toes off.
Figaro.
Oh dear.
That's gonna be one of those. I like the fact they do this. What do they call it when they ink a thing? There's a stupid name board game people came up with.
I'm just going to say
Sundrop.
Oh, Sundrop, yes. Sundrop, Sunburst, something like that.
Yeah, it's something like that. But I like the fact they've done it because it gives you an accurate representation of the print.
Yeah.
Because as an old teacher of mine used to say, you can hide a multitude of sins with paint sometimes. So you can paint additional things on, or paint maybe a strap hasn't really printed particularly well, and that can be masked by a nice paint job. But seeing it just as the actual physical print washed gives you a really nice idea of how they.
As I say, mold lines are only a thing if you don't put enough paint on.
There are some absolute classics in here that I will have to open up. For people of a certain age who know that there are 5 Chaos Gods, not 4, but GW only are allowed to publish 4. Unlucky GW. There is his champion. I have the original lead one from GW, but for people who aren't my age.
Did it begin with an M? Was it Malal?
Malal was the god. Yeah. The idea was he was going to be like a lawful chaos god. So you'd your evil, chaotic, and lawful. And because there's nothing worse in the world than a lawful paladin who starts, going straight down the letter of the law, at which point a lot of villages get burnt, a lot of people get staked. Just saying. But yeah.
I see Shay eyeing this one.
It's a really nice figure.
Yeah.
I wanted to do a Malal army a while ago. Still do.
Really?
Yeah.
How did you find out about it? Did I talk about it at any stage?
No, I found out about I was watching a YouTuber and he talked about it, and I was like, that sounds cool. I don't really like the Chaos Gods, but he sounds kind of cool. So I did a bit of research on him and was like, yeah, I want to do him. So I was going to do him.
It's much better than doing Undivided. Yeah. Get Caleb. Get Caleb in there with
I might $4. I've got a printer.
That is true, yeah. You do.
Have printer will do.
Yeah, printer will. And there's another one further down that I need to look at before we just start skipping randomly through them, because I believe they have the Wizard with the Machine Gun.
The classic one.
Which is a classic. There he is. And I'll just go up. We can look around.
I love the blockhead. The blockhead is just so much fun.
Again,
that is like a classic sculpt reimagined.
Anybody who doesn't want to spend in excess of £100-150 on Fleabay for a lead one, if you can find one, then you too can have a wizard with a machine gun.
I cast burst fire.
Full auto.
My components are bullets.
Right, where do we want to have a look at? Because otherwise I will just click random things.
There was Imperial Troopers.
Go for it.
Were they ups or downs?
They were, I think they were down. I can't remember.
Let me just go back up, and then
it was a squad shot. There they are, the lighter colored image.
Those ones.
Yeah.
I'll open the Aether Wardens because they seem similar but different. So these are very Turnip28.
Yes.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah. It's what happens when the war on Oz has gone too far, and now it's time to deal with them.
You look behind the curtain. Now you must die.
Yeah, the wizard just sends out his minions.
Would also be pretty good for Doomed.
Oh God, yeah.
Because I'm thinking about it.
Toying with that.
Ooh, they'd be good for what's the kind of Archaeotech style one? it also have all the like robotics and stuff. You could see them.
The
like,
martyrs.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
These are just
I love those.
That is such a smash of styles,
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the clown who cried. I love his
like
big
a Harlequin troop gone,
and his massive amphora from Greece/Rome on his back. Sure, why not?
I that has to be filled with like Greek fire or something.
Oh yeah,
like throw, yeah.
Or if you want to be weird, a genie.
Or genie.
Oh, it's got too wrong. Oh, why the long face? That's not right.
There used to be a warband for Mordheim called the Carnival of Chaos, which was Nurgle as a carnival that would come to town and spread pestilence. That is like the Necromunda equivalent of that. I could see that in like a kind of like a weird, twisted Cawdor take on them down in the depths of the Underhive.
Hermit crab in a barrel.
Crab in a barrel. Yeah. Have you got any that you wanted to look at, Shay, as well from the list?
Haven't seen any so far. I mean, the Witch Hunters are quite cool.
Yeah,
the
Witch Hunters warband looks kind of cool.
Oh, fear not, I am ahead of thee.
The chap with the sword pointed down is a take on the classic, one of the classic metal Witch Hunters, and then you've got these that represent that guy. I remember him. I think I have him now, thanks to some.
He's missing. Yeah. I think there was a twin-tailed comet of Sigmar or something on the sword blade, and apart from that, I think he's got everything else down to the blade and the key.
Yeah.
That's not right. There's tiny little glasses. Tiny little glasses. Pax Vobiscum. Then he hits.
I bless you before I kill you. Yeah.
The Witch Hunters is so
cool.
Notice how most of them have got their necks protected. Can't understand why. Off you go.
Look at that dog in the middle with a little moustache.
Yeah.
That one. Yeah.
He's the elder.
Yes.
My friend Springer Spaniel came in one night when we were playing Flames of War, and it had a moustache, like a long Fu Manchu moustache. Oh. And we were sitting watching it for a while, trying to work out what was happening. And then eventually Dougie got up and took hold of it, and it was the two legs of a hare it caught, and its mouth, it was around its bum, so just the two legs were hanging out. But for a good 15-20 minutes we were going, Dougie, why does your dog have a moustache? He's looking at going,
wow,
but what is going on? It was very peculiar. Anyway, maybe he's just got a rabbit's bum in his mouth.
He might have a rabbit's bum in his mouth.
You don't know. Cosmozomboids. They're great.
I think these would be an excellent addition to what we saw. Well, yeah, but also to what we saw from Satyr Art Studios, because these have got that similar vibe.
Yes,
and because they've been crafted in a way where it mirrors that kind of hand sculpted feel, they would work really, really nicely, I think, with those old miniatures. Or new miniatures made old, I suppose.
You can't even hear them say brains as they come towards you.
No.
Not on the moon. No The perfect stealth assassins. Yeah. Cosmonaut zombies. Dun, dun, dun.
I like to think that Leica got infected by some space virus, and they went up to go and try and save the space dog, and it just bit everybody Thing style and turned everyone into twisted zombies on the moon.
On the moon.
Like this is like perfect doomed style stuff.
Scroll carrying goblin something. I don't know. It's got a funnel on its head as a helmet. Go team.
Pimply bottoms are also a win. Look at that.
There's a gas mask wearing thing, or maybe that's its face. Who could say? I mean, those are
a gas mask wearing for Chocobo.
You just hear like a twisted, discordant version of the Final Fantasy music when you when you put it on the table.
It's all in like a minor key or something.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah, good. I mean, these are ideal for the likes of Sludge and Turnip28, and very much the Doomed as well.
Yeah,
where it's just got that peculiar blend of sci-fi, industrial, and fantasy.
Yeah.
With a good dose of entropy.
Look at him go.
So what's quite nice about the range is that they have the My Mini Factory shop, as you can see here, which has all the different options that you can pick up. But as well as that, they've got their tribes, obviously, through My Mini Factory, so you can get your hands on miniatures every month. So if you like the look of these and you want to get yourselves a whole bunch of files for a cut down price, you can do that, which is quite nice.
Leshen?
It very much like a Leshen, yeah.
Good old Weird Lord Slough-Egg.
Yeah. But then there's also a Patreon page, so if you don't want to go through My Mini Factory, you can also go with the Patreon, which is quite cool. It's not too bad.
No, 4 Zs in it. That's a Pratchett reference right there. When they finally get Rincewind back, after that time he'd been magicked away, to send him off to. It's for interesting times. The Gidding Empire want the Grand Wizard 3 with multiple Zs, and they go, can you have a hat? Oh, you can spell wizard as many ways as you want. You can put 4 Zs in it if you want. So I appreciate that in and of itself. I should join this. I don't have a 3D printer, don't care. But just the Pratchettism just amuses me. Anyway, we're saying, look, things. Beat the ash with Nomad.
Yeah, so you'll be able to get your hands on, I mean, like a regular model's what, like $3-4 or something like that. So if you want to put in like $5 a month, a little bit more than that, $8, then you get your hands on a whole host of prints that you can get to the tabletop, which is quite cool.
Sweet.
There's also a nice option for those people who don't have the ability to 3D print for whatever reason. And you can actually go over onto Only Games. And you can literally just buy the miniatures. So you get them 3D printed through Only Games, and you don't have to worry about a 3D printer at all then. So,
But it's not Wombles. It's Womwells. There's Erasmus the Wizard.
Clearing up Wimbledon Common with firepower. So, you won't drop litter if they're going to shoot you.
Wow, that's a hell of a hat.
Yes.
That's almost Tim the Enchanter.
Yes.
I think it's a touch of the Time Bandits as well.
Those are the faces of all the people that have answered his questions wrong. So, yeah.
That is stalking.
But yeah. In addition to looking at Knucklebones, which you should definitely go and check out, there was also a nice little announcement from the folks at Wargames Atlantic. So Atlantic Digital has now celebrated releasing 100 different digital kits over on My Mini Factory. And so because of that, they have announced a new painting contest. So
9 months.
With this painting contest, they're asking you to take one of those 100 sets and be it fantasy, historical, or sci-fi, whichever one you want to go for, or all 3. You can put an entry in for each of those if you'd like. They want you to paint up one of the miniatures, and then you can add it to their sort of gallery that they've got on My Mini Factory, as well as filling in the forms that you'll see there as well. All the details are in the post, so you want to go and check those out. And if you do get picked by the Atlantic Digital staff, then you could win a very special prize. You could get your likeness sculpted as a head and then put onto the body of one of the miniatures of your choice, which I think is very, very cool. So there's 3 different genres for you to dive into and play around with. But then from there, they're going to pick a couple of winners, I think, from each, and they'll get picked. It's going to run throughout all of August from now, essentially. So if you want to dive in and get involved with that, make sure to go and check out the rest of the digital collection from Wargames Atlantic and Atlantic Digital. If you don't have access to a 3D printer, much like with Knucklebones miniatures, you can get some of their miniatures anyway through Only Games. So if you want to go over and check those out, you can do, and that still counts for accessing the competition. So there we go.
Very fancy. I like the little digital contest from Wargames Atlantic.
Yes.
I don't need my head sculpted. It's already in the Dark Age sprue, but for other lesser people.
Yep.
You do you people. But yeah, that Knucklebone set, absolutely sensational. There's some really bizarre things in there.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the truly bizarre. Because, me, what can I say?
Nothing.
Shall we move on? Have a look at some Kickstarters. Let you go home.
So we're sticking with the theme of 3D printing for both these Kickstarters as well. And we start off with the folks from DakkaDakka.store, who are working on bringing their Silver Moon daughters to life. So if you are interested in trying out their stuff, there is a free model which you can get access to through their Kickstarter page. So you can go and get your hands on this, but that gives you a good idea of what kind of characters they're going to be creating for you to use on the tabletop. These are 32mm scale, so your classic heroic scale for sci-fi combat on the tabletop, be it in a Grimdark universe or somewhere else. And they are very inherently sci-fantasy, as I like to call it. They are well-armed and well-armored warrior women that would be pretty good proxies for use in games like Warhammer 40,000 or one-page rules, where you could just use whatever you like. And everything else in between, to be honest. You could even do a little bit of conversion work and literally just turn them all into fantasy characters if you really wanted to. Just paint their weapons differently and avoid using the guns. Or do use the guns. Who cares? Use them for the doomed. So the core pledge that they're working on as part of this gets you access to sort of kind of the basis of your army. So you get the Nova Star Squad, which allows you to sort of arm up your kind of range units for the game. But then you also get a HQ unit in there as well. They've done a lot of kind of work in the background to try and make these feel as unique as you can do, while also having them be proxies, which I think is quite cool. So I really like the kind of moon vibe they've gone with for the set, which sort of I think takes them in a different direction and kind of really knocks on that kind of fantasy vibe. I think it's quite nice. And there's loads of different modular options for you to choose from within the set. You can arm your different Silver Moon daughters with a variety of ranged weapons, or you can actually get them printed essentially as full models if you want to as well. So if you don't care about having to assemble everything, you can just go down the route of getting your hands on sort of pre-assembled versions of the files within the set, which I think is quite nice. In addition to what was part of that initial core range, they've also unlocked a whole host of additional stuff as well. So they've got loads of new characters like the Order Keepers, the Moonblades, the Star Scroll Keepers, the Lunar Angels, the Silver Guard, which are very nice. There's an APC in the set as well. There's the Moon's Chosen, which is like a great, awesome kind of Silver Moon avatar that you can use in your games. The Daughters of Mercy, exosuit wearing Silver Moon daughters for you to use in your games. The Bone Break Machine, which is, as you might imagine, useful for breaking bones. Good. And plenty of things in sort of in tandem with that. They've also created kind of sisters in the past, so you can use them as part of the collection and sort of build on that if you want to, which I think is quite nice. And as you can see, loads of things have unlocked as part of the campaign that will sort of allow you to enhance your force, which is quite nice. So yeah,
very sort of Night Elves versus Sisters of Battle, really.
Yes, I think that's a good way of...
Defenders of Teldrassil in sci-fi.
Yes.
That plus, with the way they have the helmets swept up, has a touch of the Minas Tirith. Them as well.
The wings for the helms. Yeah.
Because when I looked at them, I wasn't entirely certain that they weren't elves to begin with.
It's such an elvish aesthetic.
Yeah.
The whole moon thing and everything.
That's the Moon's Chosen.
Traditionally elf.
Yeah. And then the exosuits there, which you could just use for anything, essentially.
Exosuits that don't look like baby carriers. That's fantastic.
Come, live in my papoose.
So it's someone that knows what they're doing in the design team. Amazing.
The Bone Break Machine, on the other hand, does have somebody strapped to the front. I see.
I mean, that's
unless that is just operative armor mid shield. That's nothing to do with the actual technology that's controlling it. It's all very low, somewhere in the legs, like the ankles or something, is how it's maintained.
And your sin is my armor.
Just there to distract you. Yeah, just keep shooting her in the head. It won't stop me.
So yeah, loads more to unlock as with this one as it goes through. I should also point out that this is the subject of our prize for this week. So if you are a backer of the Silver Moon Daughters Kickstarter, then if you enter into the comments down below, you can just say, you have to be a backer of the campaign in order to win. So maybe put something like, I'm a backer of the Silver Moon Kickstarter or something like that. Would be a cool way to do it. You'll get a refund of your standard pledge. You'll get everything that would be contained within that. So you'll get the Nova Star Squad, the High Moon, and all unlocked stretch goals. That's all the unlocks that you would normally get. You will essentially be refunded the cost of your pledge, which is nothing, which is very little anyway, really, which was quite nice. But then that'll exclude add-ons. So if you buy some of the add-on stuff, you'll still have to pay for that, but you'll get access to everything else essentially for free, which I think is really cool. So yeah, all you got to do is comment down below and be a backer of the Kickstarter, and you could walk away with your pledge paid for, essentially, and you could start building all sorts of awesome characters on the tabletop to use in your games. So
the big one is you're guaranteed all the unlocks, even if they don't reach them.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you are the type of person who wants to get their hands on a load of sci-fi paladin elven ladies / not elven ladies, depending, you have to sweep the hair aside to find out.
Yeah.
And to do that, you get within stabby range. So
exactly. So no one will ever know.
And yeah, I think that's the interesting bit for me. That's really nice. They should just see all the sci-fi nonsense. Just dump that. Just go for fantasy. Look, they've got the halberds already. Swords of
I'd love to see this as like a Basilean style force in Games of War.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Just rock them in there in places of the sisterhood.
Yeah.
Yes. Interesting stuff. There is only 10 days left on it.
10 days left on the campaign from when you've seen it, yeah. But and as you can see, they fit really nicely with what already exists out there, which is good. So yeah.
Oh yeah, I see what they've done there. They've used plastic bits with their 3D bits. That shows how that works. Oh, that's very clever.
So it's all in scale and it's all perfectly good for if you're kind of mirroring these to the Grimdark future, which is cool. So yeah.
Creepy. Right, we have one more Kickstarter.
We do, yeah. So we're going from
plundering
high fantasy back to World War II, almost where we started.
Oh no!
The show. So this was one that popped up in my inbox, and I thought, I got to show this one off. So this is Operation Plunder from RKX Miniatures. They were looking to do some more 28mm stuff. And they were thinking about doing things like the British again. But then they decided, you know what, wouldn't it be cool to tell a little bit of a different story? And so they went with the Canadians, so the Commonwealth forces that were fighting in World War II. And so this matches up to the Canadian Army as it would have been in 1945 during, and people can correct me if I'm wrong, Montgomery's Rhine crossing. There we go, according to what they were saying. So you get access to a whole host of new Canadian troops. They have said, in most cases, you could probably play them as British anyway, because the kit didn't necessarily change. But yeah, but you can get your hands on a whole host of different miniatures, including a platoon HQ, as you can see here as part of the core files, that 10-man rifle squad. You got your Piat team, 2-inch mortar as well. And then there's and I think this is great, you get the LVT4, which comes with the crew and the operators as well, which is quite nice. And all of them in loads of unique poses. So, absolutely perfect for making fun little skirmish sets or dioramas if you wanted to.
Biting his nails.
We also talked about we also talked earlier a little bit about 0200 Hours, which is obviously a really nice little kind of skirmish game where you use commandos. You can actually get commandos, the Canadian commandos, to use in your games, which I think is really cool to play around with. Commonwealth commandos anyway. And they go alongside things like artillery crews. So they've got big guns for taking out tanks. They've got larger mortar crews, machine guns. They've got a sniper team as well, which I think is really cool.
These are social goals to unlock by the medium of sharing things somehow, somewhere, presumably on like
X
face page and things. Let's go back up again.
Yeah.
Group rules doesn't say. I don't know where you share things.
So there you go. Share links down below. So there'll probably be tracked links for you to use. So
there you go.
They'll be able to keep an eye on those.
So
and see
more commandos.
Yeah. Hopefully you'll be able to get your hands on them, which could be quite nice. I sense that John's probably quite excited by this. Maybe Shay as well.
I'm
Here's some of the previous stuff.
And an entire treasure trove of options was opened up to John on that day.
Oh no. Don't look, John, look away. Oh man, I hope I don't scroll down any further. Oh no.
Normally it's Jerry backing the Kickstarter. So
I don't have any money.
I've been very good and didn't drop £300 on Star
Schlock.
That is, of course, a lie. I 100% dropped £300 on Star Schlock last week.
I love that the multi-part kit. I think is great as well. So if you want to just use these to build your own troops, but also use these with other troops sets out there, I think that's a really nice little idea.
They look suspiciously like an identical match to Bolt Action Skill.
Don't they?
Who would have thought it?
Don't they?
Yes.
Don't they?
And I would very much love non-metal gun teams.
Well, there personally. We go. Yeah.
They've got a kangaroo. Oh my god!
That in of itself must be worth its weight in gold, because let's face it, any ram you're buying in resin, and it's costing you.
The problem is that the official Bolt Action Kangaroo is crap because it's one of the really old kits. They haven't revisited it yet. If that looks as good as I think it does, then yeah, that's worth. It's absolutely worth, because I need 3. No, I need 4 for my army. 5 maybe.
What's really nice about this campaign, I think it's really good, is that they're showing off the painted examples of stuff they've printed as well. So you're not just looking at renders and being like, I guess that's fine. You're looking at miniatures that they've actually done in-house, so you can be like, oh wow, so that's actually what I'm going to be getting once I get this, as an STL file and get printing with it. So.
Don't
land mattress. Yeah, how close? How much do you need to put in to unlock the land mattress, John?
I don't know. I was looking at they had carriers as well.
I mean,
carriers.
I mean, they're only like £700 short of the land mattress. That'll probably be there before the weekend. I have to say, one of the, and maybe this is just me, but one of the bits that stands out for me more than anything else is, if we go back to the core files, you've got 2 different platoons. You've got one in the full squad kit. It's like, get up there, carry all your stuff. And then you've got the ones who've gone, yeah, we've been here for a while, I'm not doing that anymore.
Throw your bags off, lads.
Dump the garbage.
Left their kit in the half tracker, left their kit in the LVT or something.
Yeah, or in the RAM. Remember, John, you can buy. It's just down here.
Yeah.
The RAM was just, there it is. See?
Yeah.
Left it in there. There's a lot going on with that.
Yeah.
Look, you need to have your Otter Scout up front.
The thing is, there's so much personality in those sculpts because they're not having to repeat them for plastic sprues. That's what makes them really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot more individuality in the models. They're not being restricted by having to lay them out for plastic injection or anything. And it just makes them look so much better.
Oh, early bird's gone.
That's fine.
It'll now cost £38 for all of that.
£38, John.
Yeah.
38.
We get paid soon, John. Isn't that lucky?
To be fair, this does run into August. There's 17 days left.
17 days left on this.
John, I'll just go ahead and send you that link, John.
Yeah, you do that.
Don't mind me.
Thanks.
So yeah, if you are interested in the Grimdark future and Old Hammer stuff, make sure to go and check out Knucklebones stuff and from what we're looking at in the 3D printing section there. If you want to join a painting competition, go and download some stuff from Wargames Atlantic. If you want to play sci-fi stuff or maybe even fantasy, go and pick up the Silver Moon Daughters. Or if you like World War II, like John, then you can pick up Operation Plunder from RKX.
There's a lot going on in the world, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's time to release you all to go and see what it is. Be free, my children, be free. We'll be back again next Friday. If that's too long, or if outside is full of either flood or fire, then come back to us on Sunday morning, where we'll be doing our best to stave off boredom in the house by talking about, hopefully not aliens, but our hobby and yours. You can join us over on tabletop.com in the Cult of Games XLBS. But until then, have a great week of gaming. Bye-bye.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.